All right, no, we're recording. Cool. Daniel, I'll give you another moment to get your microphone set up. I'm just going to take other questions while you're getting it set up. Sam says, how do you sleep with trades open? Are the alerts just able to wake you up? But two things, Sam. One thing, sometimes I'll have pending hedge orders if there's not a lot of clear zones below or above price. I'll use pending hedge orders. That'll keep everything locked in. Second thing I'll do is I'm never using lot sizing. That's ridiculously huge. The only time I'd really get fucked is if price flash crashed like 3, 4, 500 pips, right? But even then, a lot of my invalidation zones, oftentimes for like swing trades, for example, on the daily, they're like sometimes hundreds of pips away. That means I can be in like a 100, 200, 300 pip drawdown, and the drawdown is nothing for my account balance. It's like a couple grand, which on a 50 to 100K account, and then hopefully this month, maybe even more than 100K. If I'm only on like a 3, 4, 5K drawdown, I'm not sweating it. I'm not worried about it. If I'm doing 100% returns in a month, my lot sizing is appropriate. Crypto Sailor just says, as an advice to Daniel, says, Daniel, you might have to quit Zoom and come back. It happens sometimes. So Daniel, if you have to leave, all of us will wait for you here. All 82 of us. We want to hear what you have to say, brother. So maybe you have to leave and come back. Sam says, you're hilarious, bro. Kev says, Nick, I think there's a weekly zone on AUD CAD to the left with big wicks. Would that be a valid zone to use? Let's go to AUD CAD weekly. Pull up this sexy AUD CAD chart. Yeah, I looked at this last week. Problem with this is whenever you get here, you have a couple options, right? You could do it right there at the close, or you can do it right here at the absolute low. For me, this is too ambiguous. It's like it's easier for me to just use like a zone like that right there, where it's like, there's one rejection, a second, try to close past, close back in. Like this looks to me more clear. When it's just this one shit right there, you've got the closure like up here and you've got the wick down there. Then when you go to the daily, it's completely different. On the daily, you've got the closure, like in this case, around the same area, but you've got the absolute low down here. So it could bounce there, but then it could keep coming down to there. I guess you could still trade it by just buying at the closure area and then hedging if it breaks, coming down to the absolute low, closing the hedge and then buying again. I don't know. I just like to use shit that's just a little bit more reliable stuff where it's just like, like we had a nice clean bounce and there's not too much what I call wiki action going on. But yeah, that could be something that works. So Daniel Romario says, Nick has been watching Crocodile Dundee. I've never heard of that before. I have no clue what that is, but I'm sure it's like a funny joke. It's a very comedic situation. Thank you, Romario, for your morning comedy. Daniel says, my signal is jacked up. I can't hear anything. We'll see if Daniel can get back here. And sorry, I'm good now. Okay, yeah, Daniel, raise your hand because I can't find your little tile thing on here. So just click the raise your hand thing. There you are. Then I'll call you. All right, go for it.
Okay, yeah, we're good. You're recording, right? So I'll go back and catch the stuff that I missed there. So yeah, we're good.
Sweet, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, what's your question?
Oh, that was the question.
I don't think you heard your question.
Oh, did you never hear the question?
No, I didn't hear the question.
Oh, dang it. I'm sorry. I was one asking about the when you transition from hourly zones to daily zones for your trading, rather because I was going through the compounding course. Yeah. It was mainly the 1 hour structures.
Yeah.
And then when I caught you on your group here, you were transitioned to the daily.
Yeah. Keep in mind, you can use any zone. The higher the time frame, the more likely it is to work. Problem with compounding in the way that I taught in the compounding course. By the way, I'm about to update it as well to make it more. I'm pretty much just going to add to the hedging portion of it. But risking 40% to make 50%, that only works if the zone is very, very clear. 1 hour works fine, provided you're zooming out and using the big bounces, just like I teach in the course. The 4 hour and daily work well, but then if you zoom in on the 4 hour and daily, it's like you're looking at a 1 hour chart zoomed out. So it's really ambiguous. But all I'll say is you want to look at prices where the price has had a big bounce from in the past, multiple times if possible. Sometimes you'll have an extreme high or low, and that'll work perfectly fine. But you want to use a zone that you would feel comfortable just almost like entering immediately because it's that obvious and clear. You want to have a nice big invalidation zone so that way a pin bar doesn't take you out. And then a target that's like, right there, 1 to 1.25. That way you can have quick targets hit. The only reason the compounding course works is because I teach people to focus on zones that are high volume, really significant, really important zones where a lot of momentum moves originate from. If you're using zones like that, the compounding system is easy. The one that you guys see me using, except I'm just using on like daily 4-hour here. So that way we're not like taking as many trades, and it's kind of more easy for people to follow because it's all set up on daily and 4-hour. You can use any time frame. The higher time frame you use, the more likely the zone is to be respected from my experience. So yeah, does that sort of touch on your question?
Yeah, and do you also take into like consideration the really big picture, like daily, weekly, or monthly even trend? Like, will that prevent you, like if you're in a big weekly uptrend, will that prevent you from taking a sell if you like the zone, or are you just like, nah, I don't care, I do what I want?
I don't care, I do what I want, but that's because trend, for one, it's so subjective. Obviously 1 minute, 5 minute, 1 hour, daily, weekly, it could all be different on every fucking time frame. So it's really annoying trying to factor that into your analysis, unless you're just using one time frame. But then that one time frame has to be your bias that sets the precedent for the rest of your analysis. I find it so complicated, and the fact that trends also end. So even if you trade with the trend and the trend's your friend and you guys are like smoking weed together and hanging with the trend, but then the trend ends, all of a sudden you're anxious and paranoid because the trend has now ended. What the fuck you gonna do? So it's just like, it's one of those things where I think better off not even worrying about it. The price is gonna go up or it's gonna go down. If you're literally just like the retard that is just trading support and resistance zones and nothing else, you're gonna be fine because you're not so distracted by a bunch of other shit. So yeah, that's my take on it. I normally just ignore the trend in most cases, because even if the trend is strong at major support resistance zones, everybody who's trend trading is fucking taking their profits there. So you're gonna have the little bounce anyway. As long as you're not trying to be the hero taking like the next 1,000 pip move, as long as you're just the guy catching the little move away from the zone and getting out, you're gonna be fine most of the time. You're gonna win most trades. You'll be able to compound accounts way quicker, and you'll have less pain in the assery from pain in the assery. I just made that up right
Love
now.
it.
Yeah, you'll have less pain in the ass because you won't be like focused on fuck the trend, the moving average, the Fibonacci, the market maker, order block, liquidity flow level is right here, bro. It's institutional candle. Like you'll just be the dude trading like, no, it's at resistance. It's a daily 4-hour resistance. It's likely to bounce here. I'll enter a sell. And that's like your whole analysis. That's really easy. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Sweet, bro. Glad you're making some progress. I'm glad you're asking good questions. So it shows me you're you're doing good. That's good.
Sure. Keep it on.
Yep. Okay, so let me all right, again, for those of you just now hopping on, we've got 86 people on now. This is just a Q&A session. All you have to do if you want to ask a question is click the Zoom option here on Zoom to raise your hand, and Google it if you can't figure it out, or you can drop your question in the chat and I'll read it one by one and I'll answer your questions. So we've got Dro Bugs says, do you think New Zealand dollar USD push deep enough into the zone to take a buy? Let's go and have a look at New Zealand dollar US dollar. My answer is probably already no, because I would have had an alert trigger. Yeah, it's one of those situations I was telling you about, like where it's like the close and the absolute low. I've got my alert set at the absolute low. If price gets all the way there, I'll probably go to like the 1 hour or something, and then like just enter a buy. Then if it starts dipping even lower and stretching, I'll probably start scaling out of the position. But if we get like a nice pin from the low, I'll just stay in and just take profit once it comes up a little bit. But no, in my opinion, it's not far enough into the zone yet. So, know what I'm saying, son? Pedro says, when trading indices, do you tend to scalp them or hold them like the Forex pairs? I tend to scalp. US 31 minute is like a daily chart on any FX pair. It moves so much. I mean, you get in like tiny lot sizes and that thing fucking moves like crazy. It's an insane pair. Hector says, adding the daily and weekly zones to the compounding course would be awesome. Let him know that it got you your biggest winning streak of your career. Yeah, but Hector, H1 compounding was working great. Like all the zones work fine. It's just you get more trades in the 1 hour so that you can compound your account quicker. Daily, weekly, 4 hour, monthly, yearly, decadely, annually zones, centuryly zones, where each candle is 100 years of price data. My great grandpa was trading 300 years ago, trading the century candle. All the time frames, it's just like, it's one of those things, man. It's all subjective. It's all this and that. The thing I teach in the compounding course mainly is just to have people avoid any sort of needless complexity. So that's why I just teach one time frame. Yeah, you could use 1 hour in combination with 4 hour daily, weekly. You can use just weekly, just daily. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just, there's so much gray area. All you have to do is just like pick whatever is comfortable for you. And oftentimes for most people, especially if they're not yet profitable, it's just doing what's most simple. So thank you for the suggestion, Hector. Nick says, what do you think about BA? I don't know what that means unless you mean Boeing, the stock. I don't know what you mean by BA, Nick. Maybe clarify. Jack Lee says, do you do trading journey or do you think it's necessary for beginner? So Jack, I think what you're asking is trading journal. And me currently, I don't use it, but that's just because I've been trading for 6.5 years. However, I did use a trading journal a year and a half into my journey when I started tracking my trades. It was like a little over a year into it, but I journaled my trades for 3 months. That's like taking off the blinders. It's like taking off like a head wrap that has been blinding you for a year, and you're finally able to see. You're finally able to see what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, meaning you're able to see what's working and what's not working. So I recommend beginners keep a trading journal, just even a simple like Google Doc or Google slide PowerPoint presentation thing of like the picture of the setup with a little quick 1 or 2 sentences about why you entered the trade. And then at the end of every week, you just take 5 to 10 fucking minutes to just go through all the trades you took and just look at them. Like, I took this trade. There was my reasoning. Here's what ended up happening. After you start seeing this over and over again for like a couple weeks, couple months, it really starts to peel away all the bullshit and you're able to see literally what works and what doesn't. If you're not reviewing your trades when you're a beginner, and I don't mean reviewing them like hyper analytically, like a scientist in a lab coat, getting all these fucking metrics. And you're like, yeah, bro, I've got like 86 different metrics I'll look at, Ted. I'm just talking about like super simple, like put the damn screenshot into a document, write 1 or 2 sentences about why you took the trade, and just look back on it for 5 to 10 minutes at the end of each week. That will oftentimes be eye-opening once you do that for a couple of weeks, because you're able to start seeing your thought patterns and your behavior patterns that way. And keep in mind, your thought patterns and behavior patterns are what dictate your decisions, and your decisions are what dictate whether or not you're profitable. So it makes sense to look at all your shit that you've been doing and see what's been working, what's not working. So yes, I recommend you keeping a trading journal. The Mission FX Full program, we require all of our clients to keep a 2-month trading journal before they even consider like going live or doing anything else. They have to document 2 months of their trading history. And in Mission FX Full program, for our clients to even join the fucking group chat, they have to create their trading system and develop it. And our team helps them one-on-one if they need it. And they have to put their documents into a Google Doc and track it for 2 weeks minimum. So they have to actually prove they're doing the shit that we teach. And then after that, then they can apply to join the group chat, and my team will look it over. And then they'll do a one-on-one session with our clients if they need help optimizing their system or tweaking it. And then once they join the group chat, then they go for the rest of their 2-month demo practice period. That 2-month demo practice period is oftentimes what helps people transition to profitability. The ones who take the time to actually do it are the ones who get profitable the quickest. Our clients normally get profitable within 6 months to a year. I don't know what the exact metrics are anymore, because last time I tracked that was at the end of 2021. So it's about a year ago. But high percentage of the people who do get profitable do it within 6 to 12 months. And a big reason, good sir Jack, is because people are tracking their trades in a trading journal. Dro says, thanks, bro. You're welcome, man. Kev says, would you have entered in GBP New Zealand dollar if you were awake? Yes, Kev, I would have. Gold and GBP New Zealand dollar were the same. I looked at this last night and I got the alert. I wasn't awake to take it. Like, the alert pinned off for me. Let me see where. Yeah, so I don't know if y'all bastards can see this, but look up here. This is my alert was at 1.958 something. So it literally 1.958. Literally, like, look at how perfectly it pinned my alert. It literally, the wick pinned it. This happened though for me at 2 o'clock a.m. Your boy was asleep, Kev. I was passed the fuck out last night, and then it literally I would have already been out of this shit, bro. I probably would have closed the previous high. Would have been a nice move. 167 pips, invalidation zone. I probably would have set it 200 pips, risked 4K on that. So this probably would have been like a $3,000 profit. But you know, it's okay, I guess, because what can you do, right? You could stay awake, like on cocaine 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, take every trade, or you can take most of the trades, but you know, sleep and have a life and miss a few. So that's the cost of my sleep last night. Cost me $3,000. But yes, I would have taken this trade. It was perfect. It was so perfect, Kev. And if you took that trade, Kev, then you know, since I'm your teacher and stuff, and since you know you learn all this shit from me, I appreciate you if you just send me half of your profits via Bitcoin. I'll send you my Bitcoin address privately so that you can complete that transaction. Appreciate it a lot, Kev. Nick says, what did you say? What do you think about BA Boeing? I don't know, bro. I'll quickly look at it. Yeah. So all fundamentals aside, because all fundamentals aside, it's coming to a support level. So it might not be a bad idea to maybe get into a buy. If it bounces from support, that's a huge, I'm going to set an alert right there. Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin. They're all probably not going to go to zero. The government sustains them. So I don't know. Might be a good buy, my boy Nick. You also said also PPI came in at 0.4%. Looks like we're headed lower and CPI tomorrow. Cool, man. I don't even try to roll the dice on all the fucking news. Sorry, my team has messaged me. Okay. Jack Lee says, thanks, Nick. You're welcome, Jack. Dro says, do you know if you can set alerts on MT4 and 5, or is it just trading view? It's just trading view. You can get EAs that work kind of like alerts on MT5. Like if price gets to a certain area, then it texts you and all this shit. But trading view is so much easier. You just have to close MT5 and open up trading view. So you have to go the extra, 5 seconds to go to transition for trading view. But it's so much more convenient. Yusuf Al-Mutari says, hey, Nick, just a question. Do you still use the 1-minute trend scalping? Yeah, I use it all the time. I used it yesterday on US30. I'm trading US30 this week. And what I do is I use that scalping system for US30. If it's in a range, then I'll use support resistance. And then if I'm wrong on any trade, then I'll just use hedging. So I'll hedge to the next zone, scale in, close the profitable hedge, this and that. But yeah, I still use that system. Used it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. It's going good. I'm not making a ton because I'm using such small position sizing because I'm still testing it for the next week. I might even test it for like 2 weeks. The management portion is what I want to test, is like if the trade fucks up, because I'm right half the time, but what do we do when we're wrong, right? Can use stop losses, hedging, scaling in. So yeah, but I'm doing it. Kev says, nice. I missed out on it. I wanted to go deeper into the zone. Lesson learned. Next time I will scale in, if anything. Cool, man. Nick says, Roger, mate. Thanks a lot. Or no, thanks. LOL. Yeah. No problem. Nick. No problem, man. Sahib says, hey, Nick, I believe we could look up on AJ soon. Yeah, let's sorry. Yeah, let's go look at AJ. We could look up. Yeah, I'm waiting on a deeper test in the zone, but yeah, my bias is long bias, and it could even go right here. There's like this little dipshit zone that like technically price is breaking it and retesting as resistance, and it might come down more, or the volume from this major support might come up. You got to remember, the reason I have such a high win rate, and like you guys saw yesterday when I won like 6 trades in a row, like the reason that happens is because I wait for the best entry. I'm the asshole sitting in the back of the coffee shop, reading the newspaper, drinking a decaf latte so that I can stay chill, waiting for the perfect zone. And all the other plebs, all the other commoners are diving in way too early, way too fucking early. They're going all in. They're flipping out. They got like we go, and then we're getting in a drawdown. And then they're getting the drawdown. Everyone freaks out. I'm the dude chilling in the back of the shop, like, nah, bro. It's not time, man. I'm like smoking like a huge fat joint, like sipping some like decaf coffee. And I'm like, It's not time, man. You know, I'm like the hippie. That's me. So yeah, it hasn't gone far enough for me yet. I draw my zones. I put them to like the lowest over the closes and the wicks are at. So we've had a pin here, here, these two resistances here, and that support there. So yeah, I'd like to come a little bit lower. Of course, it could bounce up here if you've got your zone thicker like that. But again, I'm the asshole that just wants the best price. I'm not, and that's why my win rate remains so high. Is because I make decisions like this where I wait instead of just diving in. Yusuf says, but you are not sharing it, are you? So Yusuf is asking if I'm sharing. I don't know if you talk about my US 30 strategy or my US 30 trades. I teach my whole system, most of it really for free on YouTube, but all of it for sure in the compounding course. And of course, I mean, technically to you guys too, because you guys see me doing. I'm not sharing live trades though. But when the reason I'm not sharing live trades is because they're scalp trades. These are fucking crazy. Well, like you make quick decisions within seconds and minutes. Sometimes it would be a fucking nightmare to trade, to try to call it out live. But swing trades works great for 16 weeks in a row. Hopefully this week will be 17. Scalp trades though, it's a nightmare. So no, I'm not sharing it. Nick, can you show a trade you took on US 30 on the 1 minute for reference? Yeah, I took screenshots of two of them I took yesterday so I can track and look back on them afterwards. Let me just airdrop them to my computer, brother bear. So we've got that one, and then we've got a second one. All right, so here's two of them that I took yesterday. I took like a bunch. I took maybe like six, 7, 8 trades yesterday. Here's two of the setups though. These are just the ones I found first on my phone. The same shit I'm teaching y'all. This is October 11th, so you know, it was yesterday is the 1 minute time frame. The price just makes higher highs and higher lows, right? So if the trend's going to continue and it pulls back, then I enter once it pulls back. And then if it starts moving into profit, I'll keep adding. And if it does anything fucking around at all, I close. I just get out. Normally it's break even. Like a lot of trades, like 50% or more, 50% or maybe like 40 to 60% end up being around like break even or small wins, small losses. But the ones that I do win are nice big profits. And so I got the nice big profits and I don't have all the losses to like chip away at them. So it works really great. But this is one of them I took. This was another one I took. This one rocketed up to the profit target. I had 2 entries on this one. I added on a break of the highs and then it crashed into the profit target. So yeah, it's the same shit. It's like the same. So there's 2 examples. Like I said, there's a bunch more, but it's all the same thing, bro. It's just like, you know, like not support resistance, but price pushes up, comes back, retraces, I enter, puts up a new high. It's just the same stuff. Yusuf says, what do you think about GJ isn't chilling on a res level? I don't know what your question is. What do you think about GJ isn't chilling on a res level? I ended up saying like fuck GJ yesterday and I just left. I took everything off. I was using like this zone and here and shit, and I kept on making it tighter and tighter. And then I was like, I don't know. I ended up just taking it off. The GBP New Zealand dollar looks way better. Looks more clear. For instance, look at GJ, look at this clusterfuck, and then go to GBP New Zealand dollar. Resistance every single time. Support once, support again last night. Wish I would have been in that trade, but I was asleep. GBP New Zealand looked way better. So I ended up abandoning GJ, leaving it like a cold child on the side of the road. Let me see if we've got anyone raising their hands. We have no one raising their hand. So no one wants to talk on a microphone, which is perfectly fine. But if you do want to ask me a question on the microphone, have a conversation, just raise your hand. And once I see it, I will call on you and unmute your microphone. Romario says, Nick, how do you teach yourself to be so patient and wait? I think probably just a lot of experience, bro. A lot of experience as well as meditation. Meditation, it sounds all fucking like what's it? Oh, sounds like woo woo, like oh, you're meditating like a fucking monk and spiritual practice, bro. But what it really is, meditation is the thought of training your thought and behavior patterns and redirecting your focus where you want to focus instead of getting distracted by bullshit. I've already covered this so many times. I even made a YouTube video about it. But yeah, meditation is what helps me be patient, man. Among maybe a couple other things, but like maybe experience and stuff. Jia Kang says, Jia Kang. If I'm saying your name wrong, I'm so sorry. Jia, Jia. Hey, Nick, would you recommend the 5-minute or 1-minute chart for gold scalping? I don't know. Both work fine. Probably get more trades in the 1 minute. I don't know. I don't know what I'd recommend. I don't particularly do that, but when I do scalp, I use US30 because the spreads are small. The average range, the average like true range of it is really big. And the commissions are just so tiny. It's like 10 cents per lot. So small. Crypto Sailor says, do you refine your zones around round numbers when price consolidates in these areas? I refine my zones, but I don't refine them specifically around round numbers when price consolidates in those areas. It's more just like I just look at where prices bounced before, and that's the zone I use. I don't use anything else like, well, this is going to be where the Fibonacci level is if it pulls back to this far, or oh, look, it's a round number here, so it might bounce there. I won't ignore round numbers entirely. Like you'll see here, I've got an alert on AED CAD at 0.86. So if price gets down to there, like the logic is that, lower low, lower high, lower low. So it might be maybe bouncing up from there. So, reverting back to its mean or something, but there's no support level there to trade off of reliably. It's like no man's land. So it would have to come there and then bounce, and then maybe I'll get it on a second bounce if it forms support. So yeah, that's it, man. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna call on Yusuf here in a second. Before I do that, I'm gonna go get some water. I'm gonna go grab some water real quick because I've got some cotton mouth right now. I'll be right back. Be back 1 second. All right, I'm back. So Yusuf, I'm gonna unmute your microphone, and then I think you'll have to. All right, go for it, Yusuf.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Me?
Yusuf.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you. Secondly, just forgive my English is not that great, but yeah, I have a question about the way you're trading. It works better with the consolidation market. Do we agree on this scenarios?
It works better when there's a lot of support and resistance zones
Yeah.
that price could bounce at. So if that's
Yeah.
what you mean, then yes.
Yeah. So some scenario, for example, UJ, if you can open the chart, like it's just trending to an direction. How can I spot like the support and resistance on these areas? Like when I see a chart where it's just trending to an area.
There's no support resistance, bro. That's why I
There's no
haven't.
support.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
taken a trade on USDJPY in like weeks.
So you don't trade anything that trending this hard, like for example UJ, right?
I will trade something that's trending, but it has to make contextual sense. Like if price like pushes back, for example, I'll set an alert here because this would be good. Yeah, if price.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, I think you already fucking know. You could explain it. Why don't you explain it? What do you think I'll do?
You'll just wait for a retest for this area.
Yeah. So then in this case, in this case, technically it's trending, oh shit, Nick's
Yeah,
taking a
it's
trend trade, but
trending.
it's like,
Yeah,
it's all context. Like sometimes it's trending, sometimes it's just a
yeah,
resistance bounce. Sure, there's more trading opportunities and it's easier whenever there's a lot of support resistances, but whenever it's just straight like a bull run or a bear run going straight up or
yeah,
down, yeah, it's more of a pain in the ass. So I typically won't take as many trades unless it's something like this, like it's like a clear zone. And even then,
yeah.
like you don't even have to worry about trend because the fact that it's not and there's no clear new support resistance zones, you're not going to take a trade anyway. So that's why,
Yeah.
I haven't taken a trade on this pair in weeks.
Yeah, yeah. So you won't take trades if it's trending without like touching any support and resistance level, isn't it? Right?
That's correct, but you could
Yeah,
expand that umbrella a little bit more and you could just say that in general, I won't take a trade
yeah.
at all
You
unless it's
can
at a support and resistance.
you can go like in the hourly areas and you check for retest, like a new retest, and you
Yeah.
can just ride that trend, or it's not safe to do so because it's bull run or a bear run.
It's all contextual. I don't want to make too many assumptions or
Yeah.
assert too many things without justification because everything is contextual. You could say in some cases, for some systems, for some people, that
Mm,
it's safer to ride the trend. You get more profits that way.
yeah.
For other people, you could say, oh no, it's not the best idea to try to catch trends. It's the best idea to just take the trades that bounce away from the zone and then get the fuck out and move on to the next trade.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all contextual. But me, the simple way to put it is I won't take a trade at all unless prices got to a major level of support or resistance.
Yeah. So if the market is trending and it reaches, for example, the UJ thing, and it's trended to the upside and it reached the resistance area, right?
Mhm.
Do you think of shorting it?
If there's a pause right
Yeah.
there, if it's in
Yeah.
trend structure, if it's in a trend structure, clearly higher highs and higher lows, I'm a little bit more hesitant to want to
Yeah,
short
you'll
the next resistance zone just because
yeah.
like if the trend's going to continue, that resistance level is going to get knocked out. There
Yeah, yeah.
might be a little bit of a bounce there beforehand. Like if it's a daily,
Yeah.
normally if you're looking at it's like the daily high and you go to the 1 hour, you'll normally be able to get a little move away from the daily high before it then continues to move up and breaks that high on the daily. But if it's like if there's too much momentum and stuff and it's already been higher highs and higher lows, then yeah, there are many times where I'll oftentimes just ignore a sell at resistance if I think that it's likely to blow through.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. So you're not entering blindly on any resistance or support. You just check the trend and where the market is going, checking the bigger picture, right?
Yeah, depends on what you mean by blindly. I wouldn't say like when I think of someone using the word blindly, I think of doing it like for no reason. Like there everything is
No,
reasoned out.
blindly. Yeah, yeah. You have a reason, of course, when it touch resistance. Like some trade, you just enter it by only touching the support or resistance level, isn't it?
Yes.
But
Yes.
sometimes, yeah, it is trending so hard that you are not sure that the resistance level is going to hold more.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I'm asking
Yeah.
about blinding.
Okay, so then I know what you mean then. So yeah, so
Yeah.
everything is as always contextualized, but also there's a little bit of discretion that goes into that, such as like, this is a huge resistance level. I'm entering a trade.
Yeah.
I think it's really going to bounce. Yeah, I'll enter immediately. If there's some context, like, hold on, motherfucker, we're in uptrend with higher highs and
Yeah.
higher lows. There's one
Yeah.
huge 300 pip daily candle that just met this zone. You really want
Yeah.
to be the guy trying to short that? Like, I don't know. Like, so
Yeah.
there's some cases where I'll kind of like, I'll use like trade selection discretion to decide like, okay,
Yeah.
it'd probably be a better idea to like maybe pass on this setup. So yes,
Yeah.
I'll do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much. That's it.
No problem, man. Great questions, Yusuf. Amazing questions. Sexy questions. Faisal or Faisal or Faisal. 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 Faisal says, hi, Nick. Do you pay any attention to high impact news events and what impact would this have on your trading on the higher time frames? Thank you for your insights, my man. The answer is yes. I've answered this a bunch of times, but you haven't. Yeah, but I'll still answer it again. So how I manage news events, I only look at news events if something insane is happening. So for instance, NFP, FOMC, presidential election or a government leader election, interest rate decisions, maybe a few others, but most of the high impact news events on the Forex Factory calendar or the MyFX book economic calendar, most of them I don't even look at. And here's why. The reason is if you try to use news events in your analysis and you have, for instance, a rule that says don't trade before a major news event, there can be a lot of trades you don't fucking take. The second reason is because price either goes up or down. News, if it moves the market at all, is likely to just fuel a quicker move up or down. It creates volatility, more volume floods into the market, more momentum and volatility occurs. So I'm the dude who just sits back and says, you know what, price is going to go up or down anyway. News events are just going to cause more volatility. So if anything, it could just help my trade work out quicker. It'll be invalidated quicker. Okay, then I'll hedge and scale in the next end, or it'll go to the profit target quicker. You just don't know. And if you try to predict which way news will go, it's like a pain in the ass, because it'll be like bad news and it should be bad and its price should go down, but price fucking spikes up and you're like, what the fuck? Like, it makes no sense. So I don't even worry about it. There will be times where if I'm about to take a trade, but for instance, NFP is about to occur for USD pairs in like 30 minutes, I'll probably just sit out of the trade. You know, I don't want to, because you incur additional risk when a news event comes on, just because it's likely to go up or down quicker. But I think that covers everything. That's like the gist of what I'm saying, like the big picture of what I'm saying is like, you probably don't need to worry about it as much as you think you have to worry about it. As you get more experience and continue learning, you'll start to kind of figure out like, oh, these news events normally don't do shit, so I don't have to worry about those. NFP, FOMC, interest rates, government, leader elections, those all tend to stir up a lot of volatility. So then you'll probably be like, oh, it's probably a good idea not to trade during NFP or FOMC. Like, you know, don't trade like an hour before or an hour after the news event. But for most cases, you probably don't even need to worry about it. Otherwise, you're going to be doing so much bullshit. I've tried that whole fundamental analysis thing, and like the midway through 2020, I was like wrong sometimes, right sometimes. It was just so fucking confusing and wild. And at the end of the day, you're still not going to be right every time. So your price is still going to go up or down. You'll be right and wrong sometimes. So it's just better, in my opinion, just to use like a retardedly simple system like support and resistance, and not really worry about news too much unless it's contextualized. Hope that answers your question, Faisal. And you're welcome. Thank you for all your insights, Nick. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Batter says, hey, Nick, crude oil, I see a break retest of previous support. Would be great if you could share your thoughts. Yeah, I'll go look at it. Look at some crude oil. By the way, if anyone else has questions and you're just hopped on, make sure to put them either in the chat and I'll answer them, or click the little option on Zoom to raise your hand and I will call on you. Then we can have a little conversation. So crude oil is WTI, right? Yeah. I don't know if this is the right chart, Brother Bear. I personally don't see anything. I don't know if is it West Texas oil or is it the UK Brent crude oil? Hold on, let me pull up the chat again. I'll just cover both then. I'll wait for you. It's just the crude oil. So I don't, there's Brent crude and there's West Texas crude. So unless you can give me the ticker symbol, like I don't know which one it is you're referring to. If it's this one, I don't see anything. Yusuf says, I saw before there's an RSI on your chart. Do you still use it? No, I don't. I took it off. In fact, I just forgot it was there. Like, cause it's there automatically on MT5 and MT4. So like, I just took it off. I'd never use it though. Like some people are like, oh, if it stretches to 75 or 80, then it's more likely to fall. Yeah, sometimes, but it's like a lagging indicator, which that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it just paints what price has already done in the past few candles. So it's like there's no like forward looking indicator or mechanism of RSI that helps you like predict. It just kind of shows what price is already doing. You know what's easier is just looking at fucking price candles, that because that gives you what it's doing right then and there. It doesn't have to wait for that to close and the next few candles to close before it paints the indicator. So it slightly lags behind the actual price, which is why I just use price. You look at my charts, they're nice and naked. Just for you, Yusuf. Nice naked charts. All right, so we've got someone raised their hand. Romario raises his hand, so I'm gonna unmute you, Romario. There you go.
Hey Nick, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, what's up, bro? I have two questions. Okay, so first question is from your years until before I came here, I was like looking at YouTube videos and there's so many like strategies, trend lines and Fibonacci. So but the problem is, because I've been looking at them so many times, it's ingrained in me. So my second nature is to like follow them, even if I prioritize your strategy on resistance lines, support and resistance. Can you just tell me, because I trust you, which ones are this bullshit and which ones are okay? Like for example, if trend line was going up, I would make a line underneath and a line on top. So if it does break that trend area, I would like, let's say it's going up and then the line underneath it passes it, and then I would sell because I'm assuming that that's it. The trend for upwards is gonna break. Is that valuable, or should I just fucking like ignore
So,
stop doing it?
so here's my response is it's gonna frustrate you, but my response is, well, Romario, it kind of depends. So here's why. Number one, the way to look at this from a high level bird's eye view is to recognize that everything works. Everything works in the right context. Trend lines fucking work in the right context. Support and resistance works in the right context. Moving averages and Bollinger Bands and channels, like you were describing, it goes up and then maybe sell when it gets to the top and it comes down to support and maybe you buy at the trend line. All that works in the proper context. The problem is when people, which is a completely natural thing to do, and I understand it, but it's the problem comes when people try to see patterns that may not necessarily be there, or they may not be that clear, and they start trying to force their analysis into the chart to then try to like have this predictive mechanism of what might happen. And even that's not the worst part. The worst part of it is how confusing most people will make it. Because if things are fucking confusing and you have to make multiple decisions and do it vehemently, aggressively every single time without breaking character, without breaking outside of your rigid framework for your analysis, it's just so fucking confusing. And it's gonna fuck so many people for so long. So my suggestion is how do you get around this? Because since everything works, okay, what the fuck do we do? Like, do we trade everything? Well, obviously I don't think that's the best way to do it. So my suggestion to avoid this is to just pick one fucking thing. If you realize that price on the chart is going to go up or it's going to go down, doesn't fucking matter if you're using Fibonacci or trend lines or support resistance or anything else. Price is either going to go up or it's going to go down. So how can you as a trader have such a simplified process that's just so dirt simple that you know for a fucking fact you can do the same exact thing every single time? You wait for a resistance zone, sell. Wait for a support zone, buy. How fucking hard could it be, right? If you can do that, you're going to get the same damn results as some complicated, crazy system of somebody who might be profitable, but they're doing it with all this like mental bandwidth they have to put towards that, all this energy, all this time. You can be the asshole that spends 15 minutes every day just trading daily charts, waiting for price to get to zones, buying if you're right, profitable, and then if you're wrong, you hedge and you manage the trade to get out of it at a profit or break even. It takes almost no work if you do it that way. So that's my overview of other systems and trend lines and this and that. Is it worth looking at? I can't say. It depends on context, since everything does work in context. But my dude sitting in the back of the coffee shop smoking weed mentality is, it's probably not worth doing a bunch of shit. It's probably worth just keeping it real simple and not even bothering with like trend lines, fundamentals, moving averages, even support and resistance. You don't really even need support and resistance. Support and resistance is, there's no predictive mechanism at all in support and resistance. The only useful part of support and resistance is it gives you a way of controlling risk. It gives you a way of saying, if I enter here, for example, at the resistance zone, and price gets above here, this resistance zone, then I'll hedge or I'll scale in or I'll add or I'll flip my bias to buys or I'll close at a loss. And then I'll wait for the next zone. Then I'll do that. Like, but support and resistance is just random fucking zones on the chart based on where price bounced before, which means maybe it might be likely to bounce in the future if people have their orders there. So it's just one of those things where it's like everything works in the right context. So you have to be the one to find out what context works for you. And most people, you included, Romario, me included, most people, it'll just work great if they have one simple thing to look at. So that's why I teach support and resistance. And that's why I play my trumpet from the rooftops in the mountains of saying everyone should just use support and resistance, because you can do anything you want, but the thing that will fuck up your trading and kill your trading and murder it is complexity. And we're trying to avoid complexity. So that was like a long-winded answer. Does that help though?
No, it's perfect. You pretty much simplified. Well, the way you said it was perfect. I get what you're saying, and it makes sense. But yeah, I'll look into my strategy, and then I'll look at my journal as well to see the probability. Well, okay, cool, perfect. Next question is this, which is kind of fucked me over on the trade today. So you know how you said we overthink it and then we get in the trade because we force it to look perfect, but actually it's not perfect. So for example, I wait for it to break resistance, and it broke up and then retested it. But in the 4 hours, it was just a big green candle and it stayed on green, and then it was a big red candle. But if you take it to 15, it's a perfect retouch. Do you see what I'm saying? So is that an entry, or is it just me going to a low time frame just to like convince myself that it's a retouch? Do you know
Both
what I
of
mean?
them. Let me, for the rest of you wondering like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Let me just illustrate it for you here real quick with my super expensive, high production quality software right here. You can see. So what he's saying is like, you have a support level, price is bouncing at it, it breaks below and it comes back to retest. And this is maybe, I don't know, minute 15 or 1 hour. It looks like a break your retest. But when you go to like maybe that's a horrible support. When you go to the daily or the 4 hour, what you see is you see like a little bounce from where support was, and then you see price come back again, but it's leaving like a wick on the bottom instead of closing below it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it would be a bit closer. It would look like two candles combined because it's 4 hours, and then when you go into 15 minutes, it's like more spread out.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, either way. So if you're essentially, your question is, okay, it looks one way on this time frame, but it looks like something different on the other
Yeah.
time frame.
Should I ignore the lower time frame, or should I prioritize the bigger time frame?
Yeah.
Or
So this is a subjective opinion because nothing is really objective at all in trading. But here's what my opinion on it is. My opinion is you'll probably have a little bit better results that are more reliable and predictable if you use just higher time frames. And by higher time frames, I mean, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. Those give you less bullshit signals because there are more people making more trading decisions with more volume at those higher time frames. There's more people placing a trade on a support resistance that forms in the 1 hour that's set up as compared to like the 1 minute. And so you're more likely to have things work out better. So if it looks good on like the 15-minute or even the hour sometimes, but you go to the 4 hour and there's like a long wick and you're like wondering like, is this a break and retest or is it just
yeah,
rejecting the zone? Like what the fuck? I would wait until things kind of align more. So I'd wait for like, if it's a break and retest in the 1 hour, but the 4 hours just showing a huge wick rejecting the zone, then like, in my opinion, it might be just better to wait that one out and wait till maybe you get a little bit more confluence. An example here was yesterday on AED CAD. You have this resistance zone here, and then it broke above, and then it came back and closed below. So like this was like a perfect break and retest in the 1 hour. It didn't reject, there was like no sensitivity at all. It just fell straight in. Break and retest in the 1 hour. But let's look at something like the 8 hour, right? 8 hour, it's a fucking wick. Like it pinned past and then it closed below. So now you're like, well, damn it.
which one should I trust?
Yeah, which one should I trust? Normally the higher time frames will be a little bit more reliable. Again, it's not always the case. Sometimes you'll have it where it's like it closes with a wick like that on the retest. Well, I mean, I was using 8 hour. It's like it closes like a wick like that, but then it bounces right there after it closed with like a wick. And so it's like, it's one of those things where you're really rolling the dice when you do that, because you're saying this is either going to be a strong rejection because it just liquidated stops at the zone, then now it's faking out and coming back on the other side. Or the second thing will be it's legitimately an actual break and retest. Whenever there's conflicting information on various timeframes, you're having people like you and me look at the same shit and like making different decisions. If there's more alignment, like on the not always the daily, but on the 4 hour and 1 hour, everything's kind of lining up and there's no weird like rejection wicks. It's not too quick of a move back to the zone. If it's more like that, those are more likely to work because you're more likely to have people say, yeah, fuck this. We've closed below the zone on 1 hour and 4 hour. If price comes back to touch this support level that it just broke, I'm closing my buys at break even. You're having buys converted to sell orders. You're having pending orders hit there. They're all clusters of pending orders are getting triggered for everyone who bought the dip and it's coming back to retest that zone. They're liquidating there because they fucking know it might bounce. You're having new sell orders coming. You're just having more market participation when more things are clear. So I'd say since the clearest setups are normally the higher time frames, I would suggest maybe if you want, just using like daily 4 hour, 1 hour, then you'll probably get better results. Does that make sense?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, we got Pedro over here fucking taking notes and shit. What's up, Pedro? Good shit, man. My dude. getting the most, getting his money's worth. The Mission FX close friends. Dro says I just made 235 on a NAS 100 scalp. Cool, man. Yusuf says, let's go here. Yusuf says, share the screen. Pull up the chat here. Yusuf says, that's what I'm talking about on GJ. Oh, well, yeah, this is, you're on like the, what is this, the 1 hour? It doesn't show me what time frame this is. It just says Propster published this on TradingView, 30-minute. Okay, well, you see, I don't use 30-minute zones. This looks like it'll probably have a little bit of a tick away from the zone. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't look bad. I just don't personally use it. I get better results and I get more than enough trades on higher time frames. So, you know, it's all good. I'm chilling and relaxing. Dip 777 says, hi Nick, have you ever thought about modifying a trade? For example, we're in profit, a sell, but you think it might keep going down and also hopping out and taking a profit. But what about we modified the trade and put the stop loss? Were you about to close it in a profit place? If it go up, stop us out, we already win. But if it keeps going down, we're winning more. Yeah, the thing is with that is it violates a couple things about the way I perceive trading, which I believe that if you're getting in and out relatively like on quick moves that just happen nice and easy, they pop away from the zone. If you're getting in and out on those moves, those are the most high probability that are going to play out a lot of the time. And you're going to have a lot of winners. And if you're going to have a lot of winners, and then when you're wrong, you kind of like break even, or it's a tiny loss or a tiny profit, you have all these nice, huge winners and a high quantity of winners as well that happen very regularly, like literally almost every day. And you don't have really any huge losses to wipe out all your profits. So I think if I can just wait for really high probability trades, take those trades with high risk and high volume, because me risking like 5 to 10%, you know, sometimes normally not that much, normally like 3 to 5% on each trade, like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a 50K account. Me risking that much, I have to put my money where my mouth is and be fairly confident price is going to bounce out of zone. And I'm not here to, like I said, be the hero and try to catch the next big trending move, this and that. I just want the little move away from the zone that I'm out. It's just way more consistent for me that way. It's way more consistent. I was even doing this back in 2019 and 2020. I made a whole video on YouTube talking about like which risk reward is best. And I cover like all the caveats behind like, you'll get a higher win rate if you do a lower risk reward, but your actual terms of risk structure might be lower potentially than whenever you do get a huge win on like a 1 to 10 risk reward. But how often are you actually going to have a trade hit profit 1 to 10? It's like, you don't know. So you can scale out as it goes into profit. You can close all where you think it was. You can move your stop loss to break even and let it run. I don't know. The way I do it is real simple, and it works really well. So that's why I don't worry about complicating the fuck out of it and adding more shit and like, well, I'm gonna scale out here and then I'm gonna get back in when it comes here, and then I'm gonna move the stop loss to here in this thing, and then I'm gonna put it into more I don't worry about it. Keep it real simple. So yeah, there we go. So Steven says, is the message that if you have to go from time frame to time frame to figure out what's going on, you're not sure and you should just wait till it becomes clear? Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. What I tell people is if you spend any more than 10 seconds on a chart trying to find a setup, there's probably nothing there, because really you should be able to identify if there's a setup within 5 to 10 seconds. Like you open a chart and it's just obvious, like, oh yeah, right here, right there's where I want to buy at. That's the clear zone. If you open up the chart and you're like, I don't really see anything that stands out, then you're like, well, maybe the 4 hours. So you go to the 4 hour, you're like, I don't really know. Then you go to the 1 hour and you're like, I don't know. Then you start going to the fucking 15-second chart and looking at the fucking 15-second candles, and you've got all this like shit drawn on your whiteboard behind your wall. You spent 30 minutes trying to rationalize why UJ might go up, but wait, it could go down too. Oh, if you do all this shit, like, yeah, it's my thing is like, if you have a simple system where it's like, it's literally, so my system is like buy at a clear support, sell at a clear resistance, and manage the trade, whether it goes into profit or drawdown, manage it appropriately. Take profits if you get a good profit, close it at a loss if it's like a tiny loss, or try to get out at break even or hedge to the next zone, then scale in. The way I do it is just so dirt simple. It's like one thing or the other happens. There's not a lot of thought that goes into it. If you have a system that's like mine, which, you know, if you guys aren't profitable, you probably should, at least for now, before you start optimizing your own system. Just like, you know, steal my system. It's not hard and it's nothing new. It's just support resistance. Do that. that'll probably get you more consistent. And if you're not able to find the setup within 5 to 10 seconds, just walk away. Just walk away. Because for every setup you walk away from, there's going to be another setup that's really good. And if you're taking like shitty, dicey, weird setups, and then you get into drawdown, then you find trades that you would take that are really good. You're like, fuck, why didn't I just wait on this one? I could have risked double on this one because this is a good, clear setup. Had I just waited, 4 hours, this one would have set up and I wouldn't be in that stupid trade I'm in right now. Everything's better when you're patient. Dip says, I understand. Cool, bro. Dro says, do you ever look at a pair's average true range to calculate how many pips you want? No, I don't. I do it all based on structure, support and resistance. So now what we'll do is I'm going to take the last question here. This will be our last question from Yusuf again. We're going to ask to unmute Yusuf, all you.
Oh,
yeah.
Like for a second time. I have a question about the 1 minute trading thing.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the 1 minute, when you trade, do you choose the session that you want to trade on, or you just trade anything on any session?
It's
like,
normally,
for example, trading on the New York session.
Yes.
For example, trading gold or forex pairs or anything.
It's
and second questions is about what pairs do you trade? I know that you only trade the Euro and the UJ and the GJ, and the pairs that moves fast have more pairs. Do you trade even for example, the CAD franc or the
let's time out. Fucking time out. Let's do one at a time. So for one, do I trade in a particular session? Yes. If I'm scalping, yes. You have to have a session that is on average more volatile and more liquid, where you're going to get more moves. It's a stupid, dumbass thing to try to trade a US asset during Asian session when all the US and the European markets are closed. You just probably won't get that many moves. And even if you get a move, the spread's going to be fucking huge. And it's like, it's gapping up and down. It's all this bullshit. So the answer is yes. If you're scalping, you should scalp during a session that's quote unquote moving, like where there's a lot of movement up and down. The second question is, for scalping, do I only select certain assets to trade? Yes, I only select the assets to trade that have a relatively higher ADR or ATR than other pairs. Like they move more. Like GJ may move like 100 pips a day. Euro CHF may move like 20, like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. So yes, I'll pick certain pairs that are more liquid. GJ, UJ, gold sometimes, US 30 mainly the past week. Those are the ones I'll use. So I won't use something like you use the example CAD JPY or CAD something. Like if it's like CHF ZAR or some shit like that, you probably won't find me scalping that one because the spread's like 50 fucking pips at a time with huge gaps up and down. So yes, that's my answer to sessions and also the assets I trade. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And about the sessions on the swing trading, do you trade sessions? Any sessions?
No.
You choose the sessions. Oh, okay.
Yeah, to take a trade whenever it's there. That's just because if you're in a swing trade, the average duration for that is like 1 to 5 days on average, sometimes a little bit more. Yeah. But it's like if you're going to be in it for a couple days anyway, half the time, or most likely, it doesn't really matter what session you enter. Just take the trade whenever it sets up, because you're probably going to be in it through multiple sessions anyways. The only time I won't take a trade is if spreads are wide around Asian session. So like, you probably won't catch me taking a trade right after Asian session starts when the spreads are huge. I'll probably wait like an hour until Asian session spreads calm down a bit, and then I'll jump in there. But aside from that, like, I'm good. I'm game for all sessions. Anytime anything sets up, really. We took that 80 CAD trade last night at like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I was like sitting here, like high, like ready to go to bed. And then 80 CAD sends me alert. And I'm like, I could make a little bit of money if I stay awake another 15 minutes. So, and it was like Asian session, or I guess technically Australian. It was like 9 p.m. So 5 hours after Asian opens. Does this answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys, bunch of good questions. Another great recording. I think this is, I can't remember which call this is now. Had a lot of fun. This is one of our biggest sessions yet. We've had like 80 or 90 people on at one point. So good shit, y'all. Y'all let me know in the chat. Are y'all enjoying Mission FX Close Friends? Stroke my ego a little bit. Throw me a bone here. Help me out a little bit. Yes, you sexy motherfucker, David. No problem, guys. I'm glad to help you. MP says we love you, Nick. Love. Sweet. Okay, good. All right. My ego's good. My self-righteousness is here. Good. Feel really good about myself. Thank you guys for just stroking my ego. Just stroking it nice and hard. That bald head of yours has a lot of spark. Time to walk Ruby. Yeah, Hector, that's literally what I'm about to do right now. All right, y'all. Well, I'm glad y'all are enjoying Mission FX Close Friends. I'm having a fucking ton of fun. It's been a lot of fun. There have been a few retarded questions in the chat, but you know what? I started just laughing it all off or just not responding. And I think I'm good now. So we're past all that. I'm back in my focused headspace. So good shit. All right, y'all. I read all y'all's comments. Thank you. I'll see y'all in the next live session. I'll see y'all in the group chat. Cheers, my sweet grasshoppers. Mwah. Love you all. Bye. Minecraft.